I play Ralph, also known as Wreck-It Ralph. He's the bad guy in a video game called Fix-It Felix Jr., in case you didn't see the first movie. And Ralph is kind of a big-hearted, lovable lunk. He's someone who's very protective of his little friend Vanellope. He means really well, and he often messes things up really bad. Even though he's well-intentioned, he's like the bull in a china shop. He often blunders into situations that he can't control. And in this case, he breaks the internet, which is a problem for the world, as it turns out. Actually, Ralph messes up the track inside of Sugar Rush on purpose to make it more exciting for Vanellope, because he thinks that'll be a good idea. She wants more excitement. Of course, by messing up the track, it messes up the game for the kid playing the game. She gets overly aggressive with the steering wheel and breaks it. Well, once they break the steering wheel of that game, it's unusable. Once the game is unusable, Mr. Litwack, who owns the arcade, wants to ship the game out and turn it off, which is the end of the world for everyone in that game. So that's the problem that we start with at the beginning of our movie, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fix the game so that it doesn't cease to exist. Where do you go if you need a spare part for an old arcade game that nobody makes anymore? Anybody? eBay, of course. So Ralph and Vanellope go to eBay, and by the suggestion of a kid in the arcade, actually, they hear someone in the arcade say, "Oh yeah, I can get one in eBay." So yes, they find eBay. They go into the internet and they bid on this item, and then they win the item, and then they have to figure out, like, wait, pay? What, pay? Pay for what? We're video game characters. We don't have any money. So then that's our next challenge. How do we pay for the part that we need to fix the game to save Vanellope's existence? I don't think they react all that differently to the internet. Ralph reacts differently to certain interactions on the internet. They're both very excited and very mischievous people, and they want to go into the internet and see what's out there because they're curious, and they're like mischievous pranksters, so they want to go into the internet and see what's there. And once they're there and Ralph sees how drawn to the outside world that Vanellope is and how drawn she is to finding new friends, suddenly he realizes, like, wait a minute, maybe this wasn't a good idea. I'm going to lose the one friend I ever had. And so he gets really threatened by that, and he tries to do what he can to save his friendship. And by doing that, he breaks the internet. Yes is an algorithm that runs this website called BuzzTube, where it's kind of an aggregate or a clearinghouse of viral videos. And Yes, played by Taraji Henson, is the kind of purveyor of this website. And she's the one who kind of picks, who decides what's trending and what's not trending. She's sort of a tastemaker, if you will, and someone who follows things that are popular on the internet. Ralph makes a mistake and inadvertently creates a viral video, and Yes sees like how popular it gets and how fast, and she realizes, like, oh, this guy can be a really great source of viral videos, and then she encourages Ralph to make more and more, and they realize they can monetize it and get the money that they need for this steering wheel that they're trying to get. Ralph decides he needs a virus to slow down this game called Slaughter Race that they have found on the internet that Vanellope suddenly really likes, and she makes these friends in that game. So Ralph thinks, I'll get a virus, slow down that game so it's really boring, and then she'll come back to me and we'll be friends again. So he means well, but he does this dumb thing by releasing a virus into the internet. And where he goes to find the virus is this virus purveyor named Double Dan, who like replicates nasty things for the internet. And it's played by Alfred Molina, he and I did a movie called Boogie Nights together years ago. So Fred and I know each other, and it was really great to have him back in the studio. He plays this almost like Cockney kind of accent that he uses for the character, and he's really scary and kind of like loses his temper all the time. And he has this strange little head growing out of one of his shoulders. He's like a mutant in a way. And Ralph is told before we go in to meet this guy, don't say anything about the... And of course, Ralph, one time after another, just keeps saying something about this little head on his shoulder, to the great aggravation of Alfred's character. I think people should go see the film because it's a really relevant film to our time. we deal with the internet, and who doesn't deal with the internet these days? So it's a really fun, kind of playful look at this unknowable, mysterious thing called the internet. How does it work, and what is it like behind the scenes? If you could go backstage at the internet, what would it look like? And so we take a guess in our movie at that. And then I think people will also find a lot to relate to in the friendship between Ralph and Vanellope. This idea of a very, very close friendship where they've been friends for years, but things are starting to change. Life changes, you know, and how we deal with that change and how we let friendships evolve or not evolve is really the measure of a good friend. You know, how you react to situations when things are not so great. So I think that's another reason people should see the movie. That even though it's a cartoon, these are really relatable characters that deal with real human stuff like crises and friendships.